Alright guys, today we have a crude loan application which works perfectly fine if you send it normal data, not any crap data. So we need to implement exceptional handling on this because if you send in if I send it any crap right now, it's just gonna blow up and give me this random error which a user will not be able to understand. So we need to fix that and give custom messages for every single error. So we have the requirements right here. Loan amount cannot be null, loan amount must be greater than this, less than this. We need to add all these validations, and then we have some we will talk about later on. So if we go ahead, and the data where we're getting is at request DDO. So first of all, we're gonna have to add a dependency called the validation dependency, validation API. You can just get that, and the project link is then in the description, so you can go ahead and follow along. And once you add validation, that dependency gives us access to all these validations. For example, loan amount cannot be null, so we can just add the not null annotation, and then we can define the message we want to give if someone hits this API. So if someone leaves it null, we can write the message we want them to see instead of the Java crap. So what we want them to see is going to be loan amount cannot be null. Cannot be null. Okay, so in order for this annotation to actually work, we have to go to the controller, and here's the create method. We need to add @valid at the request body. @valid. What @valid does is it checks for all these validations. So it's gonna check if is loan amount null. If it is, it's going to give this message. So if we go ahead and rerun the application, we send this, and we don't send in anything, you're going to see that somewhere here it still sends this because we haven't really done the whole thing. It still gives this horrible message, and then somewhere here it's going to be our message as well. Where is my message? Okay, so that's not working yet. So okay, if you look though, if we open over here, this is the main message we're getting. Where is it? HttpMessageNotReadableException method. Okay, what this exception actually is, method argument not valid. Because if you go to the postman, you can see right here. Not here actually. Method argument right here. Method argument resolve composite. That's one of it, and then it's also method argument not valid exception. So let's add in all the validations first. So loan amount can't be greater, it has to be greater than 5,000, and can't be greater than 1 million. It has to be less than 1 million. So we can use the @min validation, which basically lets us define what's the minimum value. Min equals 5,000, and then if that gets hit, we want the message to be, actually, if you're gonna add a message as well, you have to hit value equals 5,000, and then you add a message. Okay, so we want it to say amount cannot not be less than 5K. Alright, so we also need to add @max. What's the maximum amount of loan you can get? Is value equals 1 million. And then message equals amount can't be greater than 1 million. And that's it. We'll talk about the spelling later. I think it's, yeah. Okay, whatever. And then That's for the loan amount. Okay, next up is a loan term. So a loan term is actually the same stuff. It has to be less than, so we can just copy all these annotations over. Loan amount, well, it's not loan amount anymore. Loan term can't be null. Term must be, okay. Term must be less than 30. Term must be greater than 1. So it has to be a 1-year loan at least. And then the interest rate is going to be the same thing, 0 and then 50%. Okay. Just copy this, all the same annotations over. Is interest, wait a minute, can interest rate be null? We should read that. Yeah, interest rates cannot be null either. Interest rate cannot be null either, so we go ahead and write this again. Interest rate cannot be null. Interest rate cannot be less than how much? 0%. Okay. Yeah, 0%. Interest rate cannot be less than 0%. And then interest rate cannot be greater than 50%. Alright, so the loan borrower cannot be blank because there should be a name for the person that's taking the loan. So we're going to add an annotation at not null. We can just type in borrower cannot be null, and then another annotation, not blank annotation, which basically if someone can leave it blank and it won't count as the not blank null. So interest rate cannot be blank as well. You can't just leave it blank. Borrower can't be blank. Interest rate cannot be blank. A borrower cannot be blank either. And then that's it for the borrower. And then there's another annotation that we're going to use, at email annotation. And that's going to help us a lot. At email. So basically what this annotation does is, give me 1 second. At email, yep. So email, we're just going to write in a message. Invalid email. Invalid email format, because it's based on the format. We don't really care what the email is. We want the format to be correct, and the email can't be blank. So not, my goodness, not blank annotation again. Just copy this over. Okay. Email not be blank. We got that part done. And then for the phone number. For the phone number, I'm not gonna go over the regular expressions, but I already have the pattern created over here. We're not gonna go over that in this course. So basically what this pattern is gonna do is the phone number has to be 10 digits. If it's more than that, it will give this message. Okay. Alright, so for the loan state, we don't actually have a built-in Spring Boot annotation, so we're gonna go ahead and create a constraints package, and in that we're gonna add two things. One is going to be the state validator, which you're gonna use. State validator I'll leave it as is right now, and we're gonna add another class, state constraint, and then first you're gonna go ahead and create the validator, and the validator is going to implement constraint validator, which is a Java interface. Constraint validator, and we're gonna have to pass it parameters. State constraint, the class we created, which has nothing in it yet. Then we're gonna give it second parameter is going to be string, and then in here we're gonna create a method. Well, we're gonna implement public boolean is valid string state name, comma, constraint validator. Oh my god. Constraint validator context CXT. Alright, let's go ahead and give it a body now. We're going to create a list equals arrays dot as list new string okay. So what we're defining here is the validator. So these three values that I'm creating, Virginia, New York, and then last one's going to be DC. These are the only states you can live in. These are the only states you can put in. Otherwise, that validation is going to give you an error. So basically, we just define a validator, which is going to work well, and then we gotta give it return. What do we want it to return? List dot contains state name. It's either gonna, if the list contains what the user puts in, it's gonna give, and what is it called, true, and otherwise it's gonna create false. Okay, and why this is erroring right now? This here is supposed to be an annotation. We haven't made this an annotation yet, so let's go ahead and add at interface, which is going to tell Java that this is a custom annotation. Let's go ahead and add, okay, we're going to need to add these 4 annotations as well. I'm just copy pasting them over. These 4. Then in here, we're going to need to define public string method. Define message default invalid state must be Virginia, comma, New York or DC. That's one. And then we're going to need to create public class oh my goodness, groups default. Okay. The last one's going to be public class this extends payload. This is another Java validation thing. Payload. We're gonna close this here. Then we go ahead and add that. payloads is going to be the method name. Default is going to be this. Okay. Go ahead and close that out over there. Okay, why am I having a bug over here? Annotations are not allowed here. What do you mean annotations are not allowed here? Interface state constraint. Why? Changing out runtime, everything is perfectly fine. Okay, one related problem. Yeah, I can tell. Okay, I don't know why that's giving a bug. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this over and maybe it'll fix it. Okay, so that's weird because I literally just copied over the exact same code and it's not giving me any errors. Just copied over the exact same code and we have no errors. Okay, so we have this custom annotation, which what basically does is we're going to, when we put this constraint on, we have an at constraint validated by state.validator.class. So it comes over here. There's a method called isValid. The straight name goes here. We get the state name that the user passes in the API. Comes over here. It checks if the list contains the state name. If it does, it's gonna return true. That we're gonna have no problem. If it doesn't, it's gonna return false. So now we can go ahead to the DTO and add this state annotation, which is going to be like this. Where's the DTO? Okay, right here. Loan state, we add at not blank. We don't want the state to be blank, obviously. Message state can't be blank. And then we add the constraint that we just created, state constraint, and you see it gives us no error even though it's not a built-in Java constraint. We created this and it gives us no error. Alright, so what do we have next? Date of birth. For date of birth, we're gonna have to do the exact same thing, create a custom constraints. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Not blank. It can't be null, so at not null message date of birth can't be null. Then let's go ahead and create another custom message. Well, not custom message. Okay, actually before we do that, let's add at past annotation. And if this is in the past, then that's good. This is the built-in Java thing. So the date of birth should be in the past. It shouldn't be in the future because you're not going to do this while you're being born in the future. So message the date should be in the past. But someone could also put in a wrong date, like 1 day ago. So we want to create a custom annotation for that. So we're gonna okay, let's go ahead and create that first before we add it here. In the constraint birth date, we're going to need a validator again and a class. So if you do that, let's go ahead and create new birth date constraint and then new class birth date validator. Alright, you got that. Alright, so we've created the application. So we got the birth date constraint, but before we do that, we're gonna have to create the validator first. Let's go ahead and do that. Again, it's going to implement the constraint validator, we're going to pass it birth date constraint, comma, string. And actually this time, since it's date, it won't be string, it'll be date instead. So we got that. And then we're going to override a method called isValid again. Public, and it's always going to return a boolean. Boolean isValid. It's going to be final. What am I doing? Final date value to validate, comma, final string validator context, host context, if value to validate not equals null. If the value is not null, then calendar date in calendar equals. So what this basically does is gets the date for today, and then we're gonna have it compare calendar. So we're going to compare it. Actually, we're setting it first, and then we're going to compare it to the value we got from there. And that way, if it's true, or if it's like in the past, and it's plus 18, that means you can return true. I don't know why it's doing that, but okay. Return calendar dot get instance dot get snap get calendar dot okay, it does not show here. Oh, okay, there we go. Minus date and calendar dot get calendar dot greater than equals to 18. Okay, if that's greater than equals to 18, then it's going to return true. Okay, what is this? Okay, validate value to validate equals. What's wrong with that? Final date? What's wrong with that? Cannot resolve method. Final date value to. What are you doing? Oh wait. Oh, okay. So it's set time. Yep, there we go. What's up with that? No, we have a return statement, bro. Oh, okay. There we go. If that doesn't work, so right now it's still conditional. It needs something for sure. Else return false. Now we're good. Alright, there we go. And now we can go ahead and create that. So for this, again, same annotations. We got the same annotations from last thing. Okay, what did I just do? Okay, we got the annotations. And then again, we want to make it an interface. Interface. String. Alright. Boom. For some reason, when I type in these annotations myself, it bugs, but when I copy them over, it works perfectly fine. Alright, so this is the message. If we get false, this is the message we're gonna return, and that's the default. And then extends payload. Okay, so and then this is where the message is gonna go. If it's false, this is what we send. Otherwise, the value we're gonna get, we're gonna send it to the validator, and then the validator is either gonna return true. If it returns true, then that will let that slide, and we'll add it to the database. If it returns false, then we're gonna send in this message. Okay, so let's go to the DTO, and for this to work, we're gonna have to add the statement first. Okay. First of all, okay, yeah. Would we name it? Birth date constraint. Have to add an at. Since it's an annotation, you gotta add an at. And you see there's no bug. Alright. Alright, so next up we got the loan status, and what's special about this one is we have the not blank annotation, but we also have a not enumerated annotation, so which is going to do the value that the user types in, as in gives to the API as a JSON, has to be one of these: in progress, submitted, approved, or declined. And to make sure and to check that enumerated isn't just going to do the job for us, so we're going to have to add another thing to here. Let's go ahead and we're going to have to create another custom constraint. Let's go ahead and create a Java class, loan status constraint, and then again at interface, Okay, let's go ahead and work on our validator first. Java class, Java constraint, loan status validator. Okay, it's going to be the same thing. Implement constraint validator, loan status constraint, comma. So this one has to do with enums. We're going to use char sequence since that's to do with enums. Then we're going to create a list, private list, string, accepted values, boom. Then we got two methods, which I'm just going to copy paste over. Okay, one being the public void initialize. We're overriding another method from this interface. We get the loan status constraint, and that's that. When we do that, it's going to pass us the 4 values. We store them in accepted values, and then we check if and then we make a list out of it, and then we basically assign accepted values, those 4 values we're getting from the enum. And then over here we check if those values, if the value the user is passing is in the accepted values list, then return true, otherwise return false. And if it returns false, then this message is gonna pop up. This message then is gonna pop up. This where's the message? Well, actually in this case we're just passing the default Java message because we're not defining a custom message for that. So yeah, actually we could just go ahead and write it. Value must be, copy that, Okay, actually just leave it as it for now. Hit save. Where's oh snap. Okay, there we go. That's it for our DDO. We have our okay, actually that's not it for our DDO. Okay, so now that's what the heck. Oh, okay, so we actually have to pass the enum class as well. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, yeah, so we actually have to pass the message plus the enum class over here. So enum class equals the enum class we have called loan status dot class, comma, the message that we want is going to be, you can also, this is just another way of showing the message could also be here over here instead of in the constraint class. I'm just gonna copy the message, I already have it written over here, so boom. Alright, so now that's it for our DTO, request DTO. Next up, we're going to define our global exception. Alright, so now since we validated all our input fields, now let's go ahead and create an exception response DTO, and that's going to be the response of our exceptions. We'll get more into that once we create our global exception handler, but for now, let's just create a response DTO. Okay, actually. Exception. Response DTO. Okay. We got that over here. And it's a pretty simple DTO. The same. Okay. At data. At all our constructor. That's it. And then all the stacks you're gonna have is JSON format. It's going to be shape equals JSON format dot shape dot string comma pattern equals. Okay, so this is the pattern we want the date to be. So what this is going to do, we're going to put it on our local timestamp variable. There we go. And then private local time. Oh, sorry. Local date times our data type, and then timestamp. And what this annotation and that data type is going to do is going to get the current time and date and then store it in this variable so the user will know when this error happened. Private HTTP status colon. All this information we're going to pass from our global exception handler, including the message. The message is going to be from our validations, but private list of string. This we're gonna name this errors. Okay, that's it for our exception response DDO for exceptions. And now we're going to create one more thing in the utilities folder. Where is that? Okay, we're gonna have to create a utilities package actually. New package utilities. In that package, we're going to create a new class called response entity builder Okay. And in that response entity builder, we are going to just have a couple lines in this. So public static response entity object Now next we're going to use the build. Okay, actually we might be missing something. Don't think we're missing anything. Why is it not showing build then? Okay, just go. Oh, okay, never mind. Build exception response DTO. That's the DTO we just created for exceptions. That's a new object. That's what we gotta pass to this builder, and we're gonna pass it through the global exception file we're gonna create later. Return response entity. And then this is going to be exception response DTO, comma, exception response DTO dot get status. There we go. Okay, now what's the error? What do you even create field? Okay, I think we're using the wrong type of response entity. There are multiple types. Response entity. Response. No, I don't understand what the bug's for. Okay. Why not return this, bro? What's happening? Create field response entity builder. Okay. Let's go ahead and look over here. I think we're missing something. Let's go ahead and remove at data and add at getters. At getter. At setter. $1, and then save this. And then why though? Response entity DTO. This is weird. Okay, let me go ahead and copy this right here. Same thing, what? Okay, so okay, I don't know what the bug was because we have literally the same code here. Okay, so this is it for our DTO and the builder for it, and now we're going to go ahead and create another package called config, and then we're going to define the global exception. Alright, so now let's go ahead and create a new package called config. In that, we're going to create a file name. Okay, give me 1 second. In that, we're going to create a file name. Okay, what just happened? Java class global exception handler. Alright. And this is going to be the REST controller advisor as well. So for this, you need to annotate it with @REST controller advisor, because whatever errors we get in the controller, it's going to come and check over here if we have that, if we're acceptably handling those. And I'll tell you how that's gonna work as well. Okay, so for example, @exception handler, that's what you name it. And then the first one, is gonna be triggered if we have, okay, let's just go create it first. Okay, actually, you know what? Okay, let's go ahead and run this first. Let's go ahead and load this up. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and connect the database first. Connect. Let's go ahead and start MySQL servers first. Start. There we go. Okay, now once we go ahead and run this application, it should run successfully. There you go. And now let's open up Postman. This is the body. Okay, that's 6,000 for now. Okay, there we go. Send. Add request. We have an error. Blah blah blah. Because you don't feel loan over rejected value. Okay. That's weird. Okay. Handler. Okay, so we have an error here. The validations that we put are messed up. So long term can't be less than 1 and can't be greater than 2. I mean 30. So that's why that was bugging out. And then interest rate has to be, can't be less than 0. It can't be greater than 50. It's not. So we actually forgot to change the values. So let's go ahead. And if we send that, okay, actually, let's rerun our application first. Now, if we send this, are you kidding me? Date of birth is this. Okay, yeah, that's why. Now it's going, yeah, this is the error this time. Let's go ahead and change the year. 08 is that. And how about, what is this? Arrival date. It's going to be 23. Oh my, oh, okay, never mind. It's not really gonna help us. Let's go ahead and change the year. Date of birth, so I'll make this 2002. Arrival date 24. And then departure date. Wait a minute, give me 1 second. Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't have that. Okay. We need to remove this. We don't have that stuff, we don't need that. What do you want? Okay, let's go and write the date all of them. 2004, comma. Okay, 2002-12-8. Oh, okay, we don't have the closing braces right here. Now if we send this, okay, if you look at our IntelliJ, we have which actually tells us what we have wrong here because of our validations. It's not giving the correct messages yet, but still. Loan status rejected value. Okay, loan status. Oh yeah, we gotta add loan status here as well. Comma. Loan status colon. Okay, what are the 4 statuses we find? approves. Okay, so now this successfully saved, and let's go ahead and the reason that we're getting 2 nulls is because if we open up our response DTO, we have these 2 here and we don't need those anymore. Let's just go ahead and delete those. Rerun the application. If we send this exact same thing, you can see we need to delete one more thing. Loan type as well. Don't want that. Rerun this last time and then we should be good. Now you see we got all the values we entered in. If you go ahead and open up the database, refresh object browser, tables, go ahead, open this up. We have the 3 values that we store. Okay, but if you see that their IDs are 1, 2, 3, and if we run the get API, for example, if we run the get endpoint, that's gonna bug out. Well, it's not gonna bug out, but if we enter the wrong value, that's gonna bug out. Get by ID. Let's go ahead and use the get by ID. Get by ID. Let's close it out. ID is going to be, okay, if we use ID number 3, it's going to give us, okay, what just happened? Let's go ahead. Okay, just leave the way this was. Go ahead and come over here. Just copy the basic stuff we need. Copy this over here. Yeah, so that right, yeah. And then I'm gonna use the get. And we saw that 2 where there is 1. So if you want to get, what's the problem? Fail to convert value of type in the exception Java. What happened, bro? Get by ID. Why is our get by ID not working? Yeah, it is. Okay, so the error was that we were sending, what is it called? We were also passing the curly brackets. So if you just put it normal 2, as you can see, it gives you the long term. It gives you the data on 2. But if you, the database only has 1, 2, 3, so IDs application. So if you give it 4, it's gonna give you this wide bug which the user will not be able to understand. And then the message at the end, no value present. So you don't want to give the user this whole thing, right? So now in our global exceptional handler, and now we're gonna have to create a method that's going to handle that. So at exceptional handler loan application dot not found dot okay not found dot class. Application not found dot class. Add a Maven dependency. Okay, what is this? Okay, I just leave it for that right now. Public response entity object handle, and this type of error is called handle. It's called resources not found exception. So and this is how we know that's called not found exception. Okay, so this is actually a custom exception. So we're going to have to create a exceptions folder, which exceptions package, which we're going to add our custom exceptions in. Exceptions. And in here, we're going to create Java class loan application not found. Not found. There we go. And now in this we're going to add nothing much, just actually never mind. Response status for this, we want it to be not found because this error is going to be only come here if we can't find the resources. So, and it's going to extend runtime exception because the application is running, but when you hit that URL with the wrong information, that's when it's gonna throw the error. So static final long serial version UID equals 1L, and then I'm just going to give it one method, public loan application not found. That's going to take a string and a message, and then it's going to do super message. Okay, why do we have this bug here? Invalid method declaration. Oh, okay. Wrong spelling. It's not a method, it's a constructor. There we go, that was wrong spelling. And now if we go back to the global exception handler, it should, okay, let's do that again. Loan applications, you can see now we get it and it's not red anymore. That was wrong. Application not found dot exception. So now that's working. And now, okay, so now we got the exception. This is our custom exception. So now let's create a list of string type, list of string type, string error details equals new array list. Okay, then we could add this symbol in here. Oh, actually, never mind, that's wrong. And there we go. Colon. Okay, this is actually wrong. There's array list, there we go. Okay, and then error details dot add whatever message we get from this exception message, that's one, and then exception response DTO error equals new exception response DTO locale daytime dot now. This is going to get us the day and time for now, or exactly right now, comma HTTPS status not found, comma, and then the message we want, loan app. Okay, you know what? Yeah. Okay, so loan application not found, and then the error details whole list. And now we're just going to return response entity builder. That's the builder we created. Response entity builder dot build error. Okay, now if we go ahead and return the same exception, we should get a well handled error message, which shouldn't just be crap. So okay, that didn't go as planned. Okay. Why is that? I'll run that again one more time. Let's get the correct one first. We know it has 2. We know it does not have 6, and if we do it now, okay, no such element error, no value for this. Okay. This I might know the error here. Okay. Loan application not found .class. I don't know why that's not working. Exception under no exception not found .class. Response entity object and no resources like not found error exception. Not this. Why is it not working? Okay, so now that we made it extend our global rest and response entity exception handler, now in the find by application we also have to change something here. So we're going to add dot or dot or else throw, and then in this we're going to make a lambda expression. Issue not found, and then the message. Here we go. Okay, so okay, so we can't make it optional. I'm gonna have to change that, because if you make it optional, it's not gonna work. Just normal loan application will make it work. Okay. What's the error? This is weird. It doesn't even show an error. I don't know what's wrong with it. Oh, the messages. Okay. Find of all applications by ID. I don't know why that's happening. This is actually weird. What did I just click on? Oh, okay, the error is we changed the return type over here, but we also have got to do that in the service now, because this is the implementation, remember? So let's go ahead in the service, application by ID. There's delete optional from here as well. What's wrong now? As you see, loan service implementation, it's all perfectly fine now. And now if we go ahead and rerun the application and try doing that, it should work. Okay, never mind, it does not work. We just get this error. And it takes us over here. Oh, okay, so in the get control, okay, we're gonna have to change this to every single controller, because wherever we use it as an optional, it's gonna be bad. So you're just gonna change it everywhere, and then it should be. Okay, that's out of the way. Okay, last one. Alright, is it where? Why is it so red? Why is the controller red? Loan application? Why is this red? Loan application.get response. Okay, that's weird. Okay, why is it not working? Okay. Yeah. Why is this not working, man? Okay, actually, so now since it's not optional, we can just go ahead and delete this get. It's not optional, and then it's still red. Why are you... Okay, we can just delete get from all of them, I guess. To do the same thing for every single one. Now this is not red anymore. Now if we run this, it's fine. Let's go ahead and open our Postman. If we try getting number 3, it brings us number 3. If we try getting number 4, we get a nice error telling us loan application with ID this not found. Application plus application ID not found. Okay, not found. Alright, so that's good. That's working. Now let's go ahead and create our next global exception handler method, which is going to be the... Where's our exceptional handler? Right here. Now in this exceptional handler, the next method that we're going to have to create is going to be... Okay, next one's going to be handle media type not supported. So exception handler again. I should run the exception handler. Override. I can't type today. Override protected response entity. Again, it's going to be an object. In this one, we're gonna name handle HTTP media type not supported, and this one's going to be triggered when we need JSON as an input, and if somebody enters in XML through Postman, that's when this one's gonna get triggered. For this one, we're gonna need HTTP is media not supported. That's going to be the exception that gets in here. Header, and this is the built-in Java exception, so this shouldn't annoy us. And we're not going to be creating a custom exception for this because this is already a built-in one. So let's go ahead and handle this. Again, we're going to create a list of string called error details. They're going to be all very similar other than some. So error details equals new array list. Expression expected. Yeah, expression expected. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get it. Just make it string if it's doing that. It's the same thing, so it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and create the. Again, we're gonna do the same thing. Use string builder. String builder. Builder equals new string builder, and then in this new string builder, builder dot append. Yeah, okay, which one we're gonna use? So we need to do ex.content-type. Append. I think it's just gonna be string. Okay, we could try string and then object. String's not a thing, then that's gonna be object. Append ex dot supported media types. Ex dot get content type. Get content type. Colon media here. Builder dot append the message media type is not supported dot supported media types are. We're just gonna leave it as it because we're gonna generate some supported ones. So ex dot get supported media types. That's where we're gonna get that from. Dot for each. For each, we're going to create a lambda expression. Builder dot append t. I don't know why it's red for okay. No, okay, no, sorry, not append t. What am I typing? This, boom. And then before this, we're going to add dot. Oh, we're just gonna append t dot this. And then what's the red area here? Nope. Don't want a local variable. It's not red, so that's good. And then you still need to return something, so ex dot get. Actually, no. I'm just gonna do error details dot add builder dot to string. Then we're gonna pass it all to we're gonna create a new object of exception response DTO. Goes new exception response DTO, and we're gonna pass it. Copy all the information over. Just gonna pass it the time and date for right now. HTTPS code, status, message, and then the error details list, so it can show the user all the errors. And then lastly, return response entity builder dot build error. And I'll just go and see where the error is coming from. Oh. Why is this thing red? Oh. I don't know why that's red actually. Let's go ahead and see. So oh, okay. Forgot to create a lambda expression. Lambda expression works like this. Sorry. Now it's gone. Go ahead and rerun the application. Let's go ahead into our create tab. That's a post. Now, if I change the body type to XML and send this, we get a good error. This type is not supported. Media type supported are JSON or this type of JSON. And now if we send it back to JSON, successfully creates it. So, and our second method is also working. Next up, we're going to create. Okay, so the next method that we're going to do is going to be method arguments not read. why we need to do that. For example, our name is a string, and if I enter it without a string, we're gonna get this random empty thing, and we don't want the user to see this empty thing, right? So let's go ahead and fix this using, let's go ahead and create another method in the exceptional handler at override protected. Again, same things, response entity object handle message not readable exception. Okay. HttpMessage okay. What the heck? Oh. Says not readable exception. There we go. Comma. HTTP headers, comma, web requests. Okay. Now again, same thing. A list again, as always. Create a list. This one's actually a really simple one because we're literally just gonna return the message we get from Java. So ex.getMessage, because in this case Java just shows you a blank screen, right? So exception response DTO equals new exception response DTO. I'm gonna copy over it again, same thing. Same things, error details, then malformed JSON body, because that's not correct JSON body, so it's called malformed. So return again response entity builder dot build error. Is anything red? Yes. Why is my code always red? Why is override? Method does not override method from superclass. What do you mean? How does it not override? HttpMessageNotReadableException, HttpMessageNotReadableException, headers, web request. Oh, okay, I understand. Oh, okay, yeah. It's missing one. HTTP status. This should do it. Yep, there we go. Go ahead and rerun this. Once it has rerun, send the same malformed body in. And then look, if you get that JSON, since we did our message right here, and then this is the error from Java. So perfect. This one also was working solid. Now, next one we're gonna have to work on is going to be the method arguments not valid exception, and if you guys remember in our request DTO, all these validations that we added, this is where these are gonna come in. As soon as one of them gets striked, it's gonna go to this, and then it's gonna take the message from our validation and show it to the user. So again, at override protected response entity object handle method argument not valid method argument not valid exception ex comma, copying this over, it's the same thing again, so boom, and then there we go. And this one's actually a little bit different than the others because we're getting a message from our validations. But first things, error details list is going to be in every single thing. Error details equals ex dot get binding results dot get field error dot stream all the errors. I don't know what's happening. So dot get field errors. Get field errors. Dot output stream. Okay, give me 1 second. That's pretty weird. Ex dot get binding results. That's it. Dot get field errors. Dot get field errors, and now dot stream. Okay, you can't stream a single object, so dot map error lambda expression error dot get object name plus this, and then error dot get default message, and this is the message that our validations are throwing in. Dot collect collectors dot to list. Okay, there we go. And then what am I doing? Exception response DTO. Okay. It's the same thing, so I'll copy it over again. Okay, spelling is different. What's up with that? Special exceptions response DTO. There we go. Now if we go ahead, okay. Why do I have to fix something in all my things? Oh, I forgot to return, of course. There we go. Nothing is red again. Go ahead and rerun this. Okay, let's go ahead and... Okay, so if you see, one of our validations is the minimum amount of loan has to be 5K, right? So if I go ahead and make it 4,000 and send, look, amount cannot be less than 5K. That's the number we defined. But now if I make it 5K, it does it. And that's the message that we're getting from here. Loan amount cannot be less than 5K. Okay. So next up, the next thing that we're going to solve, the next error we're going to fix is going to be handle missing servlet request parameters. Alright, so now since we have defined our method argument not found exception, the next one that we're going to be doing is going to be the handle missing servlet exceptions. So, and that one's going to trigger when we have, let's just say we call the find application by ID and we don't give the ID. So we don't want Java to just throw a random trash error, so we're going to handle that one as well. Protected response entity object equals handle missing servlet request parameter. Okay. It's going to take the same things, that exception, status, request, nothing different. Okay, and then here again, list error details, and then for this one we're not going to do anything different as well. Just copy the default message ex get parameter name plus parameter is missing. That's all we're going to do for this one. And then the same thing, message to create exception GTO, that's it, and then return the error. Where did you give it? Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and test it out. Rerun the application. Go here. So let's just say if you go here, get by ID, and I forgot to give the ID. So you see application ID parameter is missing. Okay, yeah, so that's working well, but other than that working well, let's go ahead and add a extra space here so it doesn't come all joined up. And now the next one that we're going to implement is going to be the method argument mismatch. So for example, if we're in the DTO, we have an int and someone types in a string, this is when this method is going to be called. And then again, this one is going to be a actually this one's not going to be a custom setting, never mind. Exception handler for this one, method argument not type mismatch. Oh, okay. Method argument type mismatch exception dot class alright, and public response entity stat. I don't know what I'm reading today. Object then handle method argument type mismatch, and then same thing. Get a list again, error details, list string error details equals no error details dot add ex dot get message. Okay, and then it's the same thing as this. Actually, it's not. The message different. So here we go. We got that message. There we go. Let's go ahead and test this one out as well. Run that post run. Just say we go to create, and this is supposed to be a string. And hello, I can't change the body. Oh, okay, sorry. Changing in the wrong place. And then if I enter an integer and send it, it's still creating. Okay, what just happened? Wait a minute, give me 1 second. That is wrong. Wrong. It's changing. Triggers on the type parameters and then. Oh, okay, sorry. So, method argument. So over here, in this, if I turn in, and for example, if I type in this, that's when that one would fail to convert type of this into that data type mismatch. There we go. That's what that exception handles. Now let's go ahead and do the next one, which is going to be constraint violation. And this one will be triggered when invalidation fails for any constraint. For the custom constraints that we created, remember? This is for those. It's gonna be the same thing. I'm just copy paste it over and then explain it. I accept a handler constraint violation exception. Then response entity, we're giving it this time because that's a different constraint. So exception again, web request, list, get the message, and then give it to the exception DTO, and then that DTO can return this time, bad request, and then constraint violation, and then the message that Java gave, the error that Java gave with our message. Next, handle NoHandlerFoundException. Triggers when a wrong API URL is accessed. API URL is accessed, no handler or API exists for that particular request. For example, if I do this, if I put in the wrong name, turn that in, it's just blank. Let's do Control Z, and then copy this over. Again, copying it over. Exception response DTO. Exception response DTO. And now if you look, so for this one, could not find the method for URL. This ex.https get method. It's the default error that we're getting from Java, but we're just giving our message to make it look better. And then the last one that we're handling, this one is gonna handle everything. So if we don't know what's happening, because there are some exceptions that we're not gonna handle because we don't know every possibility. So this one is going to be the backup. So for if something happens and we don't know what happened, we're just gonna get the localized message and tell the user an error occurred and just give it the Java message. That's all this one's gonna do. And that's a wrap for our exception handling. Now we have handled every single exception that I could possibly think of. And now let's recap on what we did in this. We had a crude loan application. We defined validations on our request DTO. We worked with custom constraints. We created a global exceptional handler. We learned how to create custom exceptions. We created a builder. We created a exception response DTO, sorry. And we created some builders for our response entity. We used the response entity a lot in this project. And that's it. And